Joining me now is the Democratic Congresswoman from Minnesota, Ilhan Omar. She's a member of the Foreign Affairs and Education and Labor Committees. She was herself a refugee, the first African refugee to become a member of Congress. And Congresswoman, that makes your input as a decision maker, as a member of Congress, remarkably important, because you have some understanding of what it looks like and feels like to be displaced from your home and go somewhere else. So when you see the fact that there are millions of people on the move now through no doing of their own, what do you think our response in the Western world, and in particular from the United States, should be?
Good to be with you, Ali. It's really heartbreaking to watch, what's happening in Ukraine. My heart goes out to them. And as you said, as a former refugee, as someone who was one of those children that we are watching on the screen, just a few decades ago, my heart is breaking for these children, for these families that have to make this unthinkable decision of leaving in the middle of the night. I think we do have a responsibility to do everything that we can to provide shelter for those who are fleeing for their lives. As I've said over and over again, bombs do not discriminate, and we have to make sure that we are not creating a situation for people where they are not feeling safe in the borders that they are trying to escape to. The United States has to step up in its humanitarian response, and European countries have to as well. I know it can't be easy. When we fled war in Somalia, so many of us fled into neighboring country, Kenya, and it was challenging for that country. And I know that, over 60% of refugees now from Ukraine going into the Polish border is quite a lot when we hear the number being more than 1.5 million people. And I just hope that the world responds and supports Poland as well, as they try to create accommodations for people who are now in their border.
We were speaking to David Miliband a few moments ago, talking about the failures and the successes, right? There are some successes in which the European Union is allowing something that feels like temporary protected status to people. But you've seen the failures. You've tweeted about them. I was in Budapest talking to Indian and Black African people. Ukraine has a lot of them, students in particular, who did have trouble. Some of it was getting out of Ukraine. It wasn't just at the border crossings of Poland or Hungary. It was actually getting out of Ukraine. And look, my heart goes out to all of these people in Ukraine who did nothing to cause this problem. But how do we address at the front end the fact that if you are an immigrant to Ukraine, you are having a harder time getting out and getting protections than people who are native born?
Yeah, we must address that head on. Again, bombs do not discriminate, and border security shouldn't either. It's really disappointing and heartbreaking to see the videos of the kind of discrimination that is taking place when it comes to African and Asian students who are desperately trying to get out as well to safety as much as Ukrainians are. I've been really disappointed the kind of rhetoric from world leaders and media pundits that is being used and deployed as we talk about this crisis in Ukraine. We have to make sure that there is a reckoning. I hope this is a learning moment for all of us, because obviously there's a difference in the way they talk about Ukrainian refugees who are white and the way Black and brown and Muslim refugees from elsewhere are talked about. When we are thinking about war and we are thinking about the desperate decisions people have to make, these are not things that are concentrated to certain parts of the world or should be expected in certain parts of the world. This is a human crisis, and our language, our rhetoric, and our policies in dealing with refugees has to change. The United States is committing to now having a temporary protected status up to 18 months for Ukrainians. And we are hopefully going to lift the refugee quota so that we can bring in Ukrainian refugees. And I just hope that, when we are thinking about Syrians and folks from Afghanistan and South and Central America, our rhetoric will hopefully also shift. There are countries like Yemen and Ethiopia that are currently experiencing devastation. And we haven't seen the kind of care and compassion that is being used to talk about these particular refugees for those refugees who are also experiencing devastating situations as well.
Yes. They are all also homeless and hungry and unsure of their futures. And at some point, they are all humans with souls. Congresswoman, thank you for sharing your analysis that's based so deeply in your personal experience as somebody who was a refugee. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is a Democrat of Minnesota.